My God! My God! Why have you forsaken me?
This word is recorded by both Matthew and Mark. They record and report that it was about the 9th hour, after 3 hours of darkness, that Jesus cried out this word, and that would have been 3 p.m. Of all Jesus' words from the cross, this is the one that impacts me at the deepest level personally. In Hebrews 12, verse 14, we're told that without holiness, no one can see God. At the crucifixion, Jesus' perfect holiness is exchanged for unholiness, for the sins of humanity. And so Jesus no longer sees God. Jesus is separated from God the Father. And this was a first. Remember, Jesus is co-eternal with the Father. And so separation from God is something Jesus has never known. But willingly, Jesus endured separation for me, for you. And clearly, Jesus is anguished. My God, why have you forsaken me? Now, Jesus is alone. He must face his death utterly alone. The fifth word.
I thirst.
Jesus' fifth word is his only expression of physical suffering. Medical experts would say that his body is going into shock. The wounds inflicted upon him through the beatings and the crowning and the nails are taking their toll, especially after losing blood on the 3-hour trek from the place of sentencing with the cross to the place of crucifixion at Golgotha. Jesus' physical suffering was far worse than any of us in this room could imagine. The prophet Isaiah foretold it 700 years earlier. Speaking of God's chosen servant, Isaiah wrote, "He was looked down on and passed over, a man who suffered, who knew pain firsthand. One look at him and people turned away. We looked down on him, thought he was scum. But the fact is, it was our pains he carried, our disfigurements, the things wrong with us. We thought he brought it on himself, that God was punishing him for his own failures. But it was our sins that did that to him, that ripped and tore and crushed him. Our sins. He took the punishment, and that made us whole. Through his bruises, we get healed. We all, like sheep, have wandered off and gotten lost. We've all done our own thing, gone our own way. And God has piled all our sins, everything we've done wrong, on him. On him." The sixth word.
When he had received the drink, Jesus said, "It is finished." Then he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
The sixth word is Jesus' recognition of mission fulfilled. And in spite of all the additional pain that resulted every time he labored to speak, lifting himself up on the nail in his foot one more time, Jesus labored to speak, to announce to the world, it is finished. He had completed the magnificent mission that he was sent to complete. The seventh word.
Jesus called out with a loud voice, "It is finished." And with that, he breathed his last.
Jesus' seventh and final word is directed toward his Father in heaven. It's worth noting that Jesus practiced what he preached. Earlier in his ministry, Jesus had said, "No greater love is there than this, that one lay down their life for their friends." And here Jesus willingly laid down his life for us, his friends. It's also worth noting that when Jesus died, he handed over his spirit. "Father, into your hands I commit," or commend, "my spirit." In other words, Jesus remains in control right up until the end. And that's noteworthy, because you can be certain that at the moment of Jesus' death, Satan and the forces of evil commenced their great celebration. Victory was theirs, or so they thought. But their victory would be short-lived, for as we will discover next Sunday, through a miracle of God, what was the darkest day in human history became the brightest day